Well, welcome to another episode of the Lost in Space Polar Lights One-Eyed Monster that I've been working on. Got a lot of things to talk about, so let's go ahead and get at it. What I end up doing basically is going ahead and priming the diorama down, as well as the one-eyed monster and the boulder that he was holding. Normally I would be using my little cup here for my Pache airbrush, but since I had a lot of stuff to cover paint wise, I went ahead and opted for the 1 ounce glass jar to disperse the paint with the Pache. So basically what I ended up doing was using some of the slate gray from Americana acrylic paint, and I went ahead and squeezed about a quarter into the 1 ounce jar, and then I went ahead and poured the windshield wiper fluid another quarter, so it's like a 50-50 ratio, or 1-to-1, and mix it all up, so it's gives that 2% consistency. And I went ahead and sprayed the the diorama down. Charlie, let me bring this down so you get a full picture of that. So it is completely sprayed with the slate gray on there all the way around, and I'll come up here and show you our one-eyed monster here, and go ahead and raise that back up again just so you get the full picture here. But yeah, so we went ahead and sprayed this guy down all the way around after everything was filed and sanded and patched up and all the gaps were filled. So there you go, he's all done, ready to go for some of the final paint. So sorry about that, it came off. And then of course we have here the actual boulder itself that we've painted as well for the primer. So that is all done. So like I said, this part of the segment of the work is done. Let me set up for the next installment here, which I've been working on the Family Robinson, and bear with me, I'll be right back with that, so stay tuned. And we're back. I want to go ahead and show you what I basically used to paint up the Robinson's family figures. And what you see here in front of you basically is on the left is the Folk Art metallic silver sterling paint acrylic, and then the others are the Craft Smarts. I went ahead and chose brown and flesh for the skin tones, and the next bottle is the orange for the here on Will Robinson and Maureen Robinson. And then we have the black gloss acrylic paint for the here for Professor John Robinson and Don West, as well as Penny. I also have this extra fine deco color. It's an opaque paint marker red that I use to draw on the red lines that is used on their uniforms. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and take that out of the way for right now. And next up, what I want to kind of share with you is basically I took on the recommendation from Dirk Pitt, who suggested that I try to use some of the bare metal foil for the Robinson family for their uniforms. So I took him up on it, and I actually went ahead and used the bare metal foil. And this is what I kind of used. It's the what I have here is the matte aluminum, and this is what I use to do the 5 figures with. With that being said, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at them individually and see what you think. First up is Professor John Robinson. I'm going to bring the light down here, and hopefully you can see that. But yeah, it took me a couple days to apply the bare metal foil on each of these figures. So this is what we came up with, and then of course I drew the lines in with that marker for their stripes. And as far as their boots are concerned, that's where I used the folk art metallic silver on that as well. So there he is, and like I said, we painted his hair black, and of course we used the flesh tone from the Crafts Smart Paint. And then as well as his laser pistol, we used the again with the metallic silver from folk art. So there he is. And then we have our Maureen Robinson, the mother. And so she turned out quite well. Now with her face, there wasn't too much detail on her face, but I kind of try to bring it out as best I can with the paints. I also, as far as the eyebrows and the eyes themselves, that's where I used brown, and I took a toothpick and I cut it on a 45-degree angle to make a nice fine point to it, and then I just dabbed it into the recess of her eyes to make 2 little dots, and there's her eyes. So again, this is her all done and completed. So there you go, she is done. And next up we'll go with Penny in a running position. One thing I do have to say, when I was putting this bare metal foil on, especially when the arms are at a 90-degree angle, I did have to use several layers of the bare metal foil. I did come in strips and applied them carefully one at a time. As far as the tools I used, I basically just used a toothpick and a pair of some small scissors and a number 11 blade, brand new, to cut any extra pieces off. And so there you go, that is Penny. Now if you notice, one side of her hand I foiled, because in some of the reference photos sometimes they are wearing gloves. So I basically on her right arm I applied the foil over her hand on that one, just to show that you know, there's a glove she's wearing, and the other hand I left bare, only because that is going to be attached by her mother, Maureen Robinson, as they're running away from the one-eyed monster. But there you go, that's Penny. And next up we'll go with Will Robinson. He's all done, and same thing, I just used the orange gloss acrylic for his hair and his eyebrows using the toothpick, and I colored his eyes brown too with the toothpick, and applied that, and of course again with the flesh tone. And he's pretty much all wrapped up in bare metal foil, and he is holding a small stone in his one arm on the right side, so I painted that up with some little bit of brown and some black to indicate that's a rock that he's holding, that he's going to toss at the one-eyed monster to protect his family. So there's Will Robinson for you. And last but not least is Don Robinson, or sorry, Don West, and he's in the kneeling position. Again, several layers of bare metal foil just to accommodate the around the knees and the elbows and shoulders and all that kind of stuff. But he's all painted up and ready to go, and so there you go. Alright. So, like I said, this is where we're at right now as far as this stage of the game, as far as putting this model together. I do want to also say that I did go ahead and, per recommendation from Mark Fraley, that I did send out for some decals through JT Graphics that he sent me a link to. So I appreciate that, Mark. And so I'm kind of waiting on that. Hopefully it'll be a couple weeks before I get that. But in the meantime, I will start working on the Chariot. But until at this point, this is where we're at. And I hope you're enjoying this little mini series, and we'll catch you later. All right, everybody have a good day, and until then, so long. Bye.